Have you ever gotten a little stuck in Portuguese, trying to talk about what you're about to do, what you're doing right now, or what you just finished? Yeah, it's a super common thing. So today, we're going to completely demystify 3 really useful verb structures that are going to make your conversation sound so much more natural. So here's the game plan. First, we'll map out the timeline of any action. Then, we'll get into the specifics for talking about the plan, the action itself, and, of course, the result. And to wrap it all up, we'll see how this all sounds in a real, live conversation. It's a simple little journey, really, from thought to completion. All right, first things first, before we even touch the grammar, let's just think about the idea itself. I mean, every single thing we do, whether it's making coffee or starting a new project, it can all be put on a simple timeline. And what's so cool is that Portuguese has these really neat, specific tools for each part of that journey. Just think of it like this. First, you've got the plan. That's what you're going to do. Then you have the action, what you're doing right now. And finally, you get the result, what you just did. To make this super clear, we're going to follow the simple story of making dinner from start to finish. Okay, let's kick things off at the very beginning of our timeline, the plan. This is the structure you're going to use all the time to talk about your intentions. You know, all the stuff that's about to happen pretty soon. And you're going to love this. The formula is so simple. You just take the verb ir, which means to go, and then you tack on your main action verb in its original form, the infinitive. Seriously, that's it. And check out this pattern. The only verb you have to change is ir, vou, vais, vai. The main verb, in this case, comer, to eat, it doesn't change one bit, no matter who's talking. It just stays the same, which, let's be honest, makes life a whole lot easier. So let's get back to our dinner story. The plan is officially in place. Ele vai fazer o jantar. He is going to make dinner. See? The cooking hasn't started yet, but we know exactly what his intention is. So, the plan's been made. Now it's time to move to the next spot on our timeline, the action. This is how we talk about what's happening this very second. For this, we're going to use the verb estar, which means to be, followed by the little word a, and then, you guessed it, our action verb in the infinitive. This is your absolute go-to for anything that's in progress right now. And you'll see it's the exact same pattern as before, only the first verb, estar, gets conjugated. Estou, estás, estar. And our main verb, here it's falar, to speak. It just stays put. Once you get this pattern down, you can use it for everything. And our story moves forward. He's not just planning anymore. Now the action is happening. He is making dinner, right now in this moment. You can almost smell it, can't you? And that brings us to the final and, let's face it, most satisfying part, the result. So, how do we say that something just finished, like a moment ago? For this, Portuguese has this great verb, acabar, which means to finish. The structure is acabar de plus the infinitive. It just perfectly captures that feeling of something that's just happened. So here, we just conjugate acabar in the simple past tense, acabei, acabaste, acabou. Then we add D and our good old unchanged action verb, like chegar, to arrive. You know, it literally translates to something like, I finished of arriving, which sounds a bit funny in English, but it's a really great way to remember how it works. And just like that, our little story is complete. The dinner isn't being planned, it's not being made. It is done. He has just made dinner. The result is finally on the table. Okay, so we've got our 3 formulas down. We've got the plan, the action, the result. But the real magic happens when you see them all side by side and you hear how they actually sound in a normal conversation. So let's put it all together with a new example. To read the newspaper. If you say vou ler, that's your plan for later. Estou a ler means, don't bother me, I'm in the middle of it. And acabei de ler, that's the feeling of closing the paper and being done. See how each phrase paints a totally different picture in time? Okay, looking at sentences on a screen is one thing, but let's actually hear how this sounds when 2 people are just talking. So imagine someone asks about what's happening right now. O que é que a Daniela está a fazer? What is Daniela doing? The question itself is asking about the present moment. And the reply is just perfect. Está a pôr a mesa. She is setting the table. The action is happening as we speak. It's simple, direct, and exactly how someone would actually say it. Now, here's another super common situation. The question is about something in the past, but with that feeling of, did it happen yet? O Gustavo já saiu? Has Gustavo already left? And the answer just nails that sense of timing. Já acabou de sair. Yes, he has just left. This tells you it wasn't an hour ago. It wasn't yesterday. It was literally moments ago. You just missed him. So, if you remember anything, remember this. For a future plan, it's vou fazer. For what's happening right now, estou a fazer. And for something that just finished, acabei de fazer. Honestly, these three little structures will cover a huge amount of your everyday conversations. And that pretty much brings us to the end. So now, it's your turn. After watching this, o que tu vais fazer agora? What are you going to do now? Hopefully, you're going to go practice a little bit of Portuguese.